We're playing the Blue Birthing Pod, Repurposing Bay, and Legacy Paradoxical Outcome. It's a fun one. Let's go check it out. Before we begin, let's thank Valgrim for today's donation deck. Valgrim is a member of the Combo Cabal tier of this channel, which means that Valgrim gets 1 hour of tutoring every month, but they also get a free donation deck, and they're cashing that in to share their pet deck that they've been working on in their local scene, Mono Blue Repurposing Bay combo featuring Paradoxical Outcome. And Valgrim went undefeated at their local with the list in front of you, and they wanted to see it how it does on Magic Online. So that's what we're doing today. So the idea behind this deck is obviously you're looking to leverage Repurposing Bay. This 3 mana value artifact for 2 and a blue. You could pay 2 mana, sack another artifact, search your library for an artifact with a mana value of +1. So if you sacrifice a card that costs 1, you can grab a card that costs 2, for example. And you can only activate this ability as a sorcery. So it's similar to Birthing Pod, a card banned in Modern. Okay, and it makes a lot of sense in our Paradoxical Outcome deck because both cards care about artifacts and things like that. Okay, so the last time that I played this deck, we struggled with blue cards. So Force of Will is a card that wants roughly 20-ish blue cards in your deck in order to be effective. Well, today we're playing Pinnacle Emissary, a new card from Edge of Eternities that ups the blue count but also cares about artifacts, and it's a backup win condition. If you think about vintage Paradoxical Outcome, back in 2020, it used to win with Monastery Mentor. This is basically a blue Monastery Mentor that cares about the synergy that's already in our deck, which is artifacts. So you could play out early for the warp cost and then play things like Mox Opal, your Manifold Key, Voltaic Key, etc., and make a bunch of 1/1 flying drone creatures in order to win the game. Or you could play it later for its full mana value and do the same thing. Okay, so Repurposing Bay is really interesting in this deck because of those keys that I just mentioned, Manifold Key and Voltaic Key, for the ability to untap this artifact. Once you untap it and tap it enough, you could search out things like the One Ring, Relic of Sauron, or even Paradox Engine, allowing you to go bananas. But the one thing that I really love about this deck list today, and I'm not just saying this for clicks or anything like that, I truly mean it, we're playing Helm of Awakening. And many of you may not know this, but this card was in the first builds of the Epic Storm. In fact, most legacy combo decks back in 2005, 6, and 7 were all based around Helm of Awakening, and I was in love with this card. So it's a generic 2 mana value artifact that says all spells cost 1 generic mana less to cast. So that means that your Manifold Keys, your Voltaic Keys will be free to cast, which is just bananas. And it means that Grim Monolith only casts 1 colorless instead of 2. Basalt Monolith casts 2 instead of 3, etc. So you're able to ramp more efficiently. And I love that because when you're bouncing all of your permanents with Paradoxical Outcome, replaying them for less mana is obviously good. And I'm just such a huge fan of this card. So I am looking forward to playing a card that I love today. And that's sort of the deck tech. I would like to mention that you do have Aetherflux Reservoir to win the game with as well. This is the classic win condition of the deck, pre-Pinnacle Emissary. And then I guess I'll cover the sideboard before we head on into match number 1. Force of Negation is for combo decks. Kappa Cannoneer is a sideboard juke plan to come in against fair strategies. They have things like Null Rod, for example, so a lot of blue decks because it's tough for them to answer. But on top of that, the Pinnacle Emissary helps that you accelerate into the Kappa Cannoneer, which is pretty fun. Dismember is for the Collector Oof strategies of the format, and Defense Grid is obviously for blue. Alright, enough of me ranting and rambling. I think I've said enough. Let's go play match number 1, and I will see you there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to match number 1 with Mono Blue Paradoxical Outcome with Repurposing Bay. We're on the play. Let's see what we can open here. Bummer. Just the Ancient Tomb for mana. We have to send this one back. Alright, so we have City of Traders, Grim Monolith, Voltaic Key, the One Ring with Force of Will backup. So you can put back a key here And then you have turn 1, the One Ring with Force of Will backup. That's pretty good. Okay. Way to start a league, Bryant. I'm so proud of you. You gotta give yourself a pep talk every once in a while. Grim Monolith. And I say that because I haven't played Magic in over a week. Well, I haven't recorded in over a week, I should say. I've been playing, you know, a lot of the Epic Storm in my downtime, but I decided that I was going to take Christmas week off of recording and just try to relax a little bit. So I've played a lot of matches of the Epic Storm, and, you know, not recording is also sometimes fun because it's not always easy to play and record at the same time. I mean, you might think that it seems easy. It's really not. It's a lot more taxing than you might think, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. So it looks like our copy of the One Ring is going to resolve, and it does. So we needed that Force of Will backup. I'll now draw my card. Ooh, Helm of Awakening. We'll pass the turn. So they exiled a Brainstorm to the Force of Will, so we're not exactly sure what they're playing yet. Alright, so now our One Ring will deal us 1. We'll draw 2. And let's untap the One Ring. I want cards here, not mana. We'll draw 3. Okay. I wonder if it's crazy to just pass the turn in this spot. Yeah, I think I'm going to. So I could play out the blue land. I fully get that, and I do comprehend it. The thing is, next turn, I'm going to use that land to untap the Grim Monolith. So if that's the game plan, I think leaving the City of Traders in play is actually better, because that gives me 1 more mana next turn. So they surveilled off a Thundering Falls. They have a Mistrized Village, so this is Sneak and Show. Okay, so we'll lose a life to the One Ring here, or I should say 3 life. So I'll go down to 15. We'll draw for turn. Let's draw off the ring. I'll draw 4 cards here. We'll play another Grim Monolith, I think. No, let's untap. And then we'll tap that Grim Monolith. We'll play Helm of Awakening. See if this resolves. It does. So now we'll play our key. It's free, by the way. And now we'll play Grim Monolith for 1 mana. And now we'll untap the One Ring. And let's draw 5. We'll play a Mox Opal. We found Repurposing Bay. We'll play our Manifold Key. I could play the Aetherflux Reservoir, but I'm not sure if I'm ready for that yet. Let's tap the Grim Monolith. We'll play Grim Monolith. And then we'll play Repurposing Bay. That resolved. We'll tap for mana. Untap the One Ring. And now we'll draw 6 cards. Okay. Want to think through this for a moment. We'll play our Ancient Tomb. And then let's play another Helm of Awakening. And now this Helm of Awakening is free. I love it. So our spells cost 3 generic less now. We'll play our key. Alright, I should have done this prior. I'm going to sacrifice the One Ring here. We're going to go grab our... I'm not playing optimally. I'm sorry. I'm just not. There's no excuse here. I will go to 13. We'll untap the Mox Opal. Now I'll tap for a blue. We'll play another Mox Opal. This will untap everything. We're going to make a bunch of mana here. Alright, now I have so much colorless mana that I'm going to just filter the Mox Opal. We're going to Brainstorm in response. And then I'll tap this for another blue. I suppose I can just let this one resolve. So now I can play the One Ring for a single mana. 1 mana the One Ring. How about that? And I could use my keys here, but I don't think I'm going to, because if they somehow win the... I guess they untap no matter what. So maybe I should use them. Make another blue. Near infinite mana here. We'll make a red. Now they all untap. The One Ring. Okay. It's probably safe to play my Reservoir now. I'm not even going to make mana here. I don't need to. I've played 13 spells this turn. We'll play a Relic of Sauron. I'm up to 27. Yeah, I'm like, I realize I could have drawn cards off the... I'm going to get so many YouTube comments that are like, you could have done this. Like, I'm aware, I just don't think it matters. That's really my point here, is we've won this game. I just need to hurry up and finish winning. Like, I'm aware that I could be making mana and drawing cards and all this other stuff. I just don't think I need to. Alright, so we've taken game number 1 from Sneak and Show. Okay. So... out of sideboard. Well, I don't think that this is a very good Pinnacle Emissary matchup, so I think I will be boarding those out. I am interested in Force of Negation versus the opposing combo deck. The question is, like, do I want Defense Grid? So I think there's a tiny little anti-synergy here, by the way. Helm of Awakening makes spells cost less. Defense Grid makes them cost more. So it's a little awkward. I'm willing to accept that. So I want to bring at least in one Defense Grid. And I asked Velgrim for sideboarding advice, and they said to shave one key, one of each key. What was the other cards? One Mox Opal. I don't know if I like that one because this deck is kind of low on blue sources already. So I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of shaving on a Mox Opal. I'm going to shave one Helm of Awakening. We'll try that instead. So there's only 12 blue sources in the deck if you don't count the Relic of Sauron. So I just don't love sideboarding on a Mox Opal. I mean, this hand works if we can live. I'll keep. They have Scalding Tarn. We'll play our Seagate Restoration. Pass the turn. I just realized I'm a dummy. I'm a dummy. I can't actually play Grim Monolith next turn unless I draw a land. Alright, Bryant, wake up. Quit playing poorly. They have Volcanic Island. We did not draw the land, and I'm punished. Okay. We will pass the turn. And they're passing the turn. We drew another not land. Okay. I'm going to get rid of a Repurposing Bay here, I think. They play Misty Rainforest. Oh, come on. Discard a Paradoxical Outcome. They play Ancient Tomb. We finally draw the second land. Ouch. Well, I don't think they need more mana, so I'm going to play Helm of Awakening here. They consign to memory. I will pass the turn. They have a City of Traders. They have 5 cards still in their hand. They have all the mana in the world. We drew another land. I'll play another Helm of Awakening. And they consign to memory again. Sure. Alright, they have 4 cards left in their hand. We'll play Seagate Restoration as a land. Pass the turn. They have 5 cards now. We'll play Grim Monolith. That one resolved. And Manifold Key. That also resolves. Untap the Grim Monolith. Okay. So I can outcome here floating 1, but I don't think it's going to resolve. I could try Relic of Sauron into Repurposing Bay. Maybe that's better. Looks like they're going to counter this. Interesting. Okay. Pass the turn. They have 4 cards. And they drew Brainstorm, a good draw for them after drawing a lot of lands in a row. Hopefully they don't kill me here. Stock up. Okay. They play Mistrise Village. 5 cards in their hand. A Lotus Petal. So now they can have uncounterable Show and Tell, if they so choose. And it looks like that's going to be the case. So they make the Mistrise Village activation, so the next spell is uncounterable. There's the Show and Tell. They have 3 cards. I hope it's just like an Emrakul or a Troxa. We'll put it in Paradox Engine. It is, in fact, a Troxa, so not Omniscience. We are not just dead. They find another copy of Force of Will, though, which is concerning. They take Force of Will, Atraxa, Lotus Petal, Scalding Tarn, and Sneak Attack. 7 cards in their hand still. Can we win? Alright, so we will begin by untapping the Grim Monolith. And then we'll play Basalt Monolith. This untaps everything. So mana is no longer a choke point. Untap the Grim Monolith. Maybe I should have done blue. I don't know. We'll play Repurposing Bay. Hopefully this resolves. Because if it resolves, I can go grab Defense Grid. And then we can beat that Force of Will easily. They are going to force here. I'm going to try to Paradoxical Outcome because I could draw into Counter Magic. Alright, Outcome on the stack. We'll make some more mana here. Tap for a blue. Outcome. And Outcome resolves! I will hardcast a Force of Negation. I will untap all of my non-land permanents. All of them. And once again, I will untap all of my non-land permanents. Repurposing Bay does resolve. Let's start with a Grim Monolith. Tap that for mana. Play Defense Grid. I probably should have started with the Defense Grid. I don't know. And now we'll play the One Ring. Alright, we gain protection. I'll make 3 mana, draw a card. I don't think I want to sacrifice any of my stuff yet to the Repurposing Bay. I'll play Basalt Monolith, and now we'll make some more mana. I'll draw 2 cards, and I'll use the Repurposing Bay now. We'll sacrifice the Basalt Monolith, and we can go grab Aetherflux Reservoir, and now we'll play Mox Opal, and I believe we've won. So we'll auto yield to the gain life trigger, make some more mana here, draw 3 cards, use the Repurposing Bay, sacrifice the Mox Opal, grab a Manifold Key, untap the One Ring, draw 4. Yeah, I mean, the world's our oyster at this point. We'll play another copy of Defense Grid. This untaps everything. We're at 36. Make some more mana. Draw 5 cards. Untap the One Ring. Oh, are they conceding? I'm freezing up here. They are. Nice. All right, well, that went rather smoothly. I mean, it only took me keeping a terrible hand that I didn't realize was bad, and our opponent not doing anything for 7 turns. But a win is a win, and I like winning. So we're 1-0. Let's try to win the next 4 matches. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Match number 2 on the play. We have Helm of Awakening into Manifold Key, and then another key. So we're 1 mana short of the One Ring, but if you draw a mana, you have the One Ring with forcible backup. Against better judgment, I'm going to try this one. I'm a little nervous that on the play it's not going to be good enough. We also just might lose the game to a Wasteland, but I would like to try it. Helm of Awakening resolves, we'll play Voltaic Key. And you might be thinking, why are you playing the keys out early? They don't do anything right now. That's sort of true, but what if there's a world in which our Helm of Awakening gets blown up? This means that my artifacts are already in play in case I draw something like a Mox Opal. So we have 4 copies of Grim Monolith and then a Basalt Monolith. That would be incredible draws. I'd also just take a land so I can play the One Ring that way. They play a Dragon's Rage Channeler. Alright, deck. I would like mana here. That's not mana. Oh, no. My concern is them finding Wasteland. Dragon's Rage Channeler helps them dig for Wasteland. And now they play Ponder. They kept the card on top. And they did find Wasteland. That was the punish. We had a 1-turn window to hit that mana and we missed it. Yep. We're at 19. We'll take our draw step. And there's the mana I needed last turn. We'll play our land. Pass the turn. So we still have 4 Ancient Tombs, 3 City of Traders, Grim Monolith, and Basalt Monolith that all would be fine draws. They play a Quarry Steelcutter, sure. They paid 2 mana because I think they forgot about Helm of Awakening. They surveilled away a Lightning Bolt. And now they're going to cast another because they realized they had a red mana floating. So my life total is going down pretty quickly here. I need to draw some mana acceleration. I'm at 16. They kept another card on top of their deck here. I'll be taking 3 down to 13. Grim Monolith plays. Ay. We'll pass. Delver's Secrets. And now a Ponder. I just have to let this go. They did not shuffle and they find another Wasteland. Alright, this game's over. We can go to game 2. We missed that 1-turn window to have turn 2 the One Ring with force backup. I know it looks like I got ran over this game. I'm well aware. But if I had hit the land, I think we breezed through that game. But it's just not what happened. So we'll bring in Defense Grid and Kappa Cannoneer. Get rid of the Helm of Awakenings versus Fair Blue. And now we still have some cuts. So this is the tough part. Belgrim suggested cutting the keys. I think it should be Repurposing Bay. Because I think you're not really looking to be a big combo deck. And having the keys in Mox Opal, which is what Belgrim suggested we side out, those help with your Kappa Cannoneer Pinnacle Emissary game plan when our opponent's boarding in Null Rods. So I'm going to get rid of the Repurposing Bays here instead. I know that I'm going against the sideboard guide, but I think that this will be a more successful board strategy. We're not looking to be an all-in combo deck. We're just looking to do our thing. And the thing just changed. We're now trying to be a Kappa Cannoneer deck. I think we keep this. Once again, I am begging to not get Wastelanded. We'll play Seagate Restoration into Manifold Key. Pass the turn. So next turn we have City of Traders plus 2 artifacts, which is 5 mana. We're still 1 mana short. So I'd like to draw another cheap artifact for these Mox Opals, because then the Kappa Cannoneer is online. They put 2 on the bottom with the Preordain. What about a third Mox Opal? I said a cheap artifact. I mean, it is technically a cheap artifact. We'll play the City of Traders, pass the turn. 5 mana is not enough to play Kappa Cannoneer. They play Flooded Strand and a Delver of Secrets. They have 6 cards in their hand. Force of Will. We have to pass the turn. And they search out a Thundering Falls, which is obviously nice with the Delver of Secrets because you can guarantee that your Delver of Secrets transforms into the flying insectile aberration. And they do, revealing a Force of Will. Them the break sometimes. Scalding Tarn. They have 6 cards still in their hand. And I'm going to fall to 14. We're still capable of winning this, but I need to draw something to turn on my hand quickly. That could do it. We'll play another key. So the question is, am I supposed to wait a turn? Because that would give me more mana. So basically that was a break even. If I play out the opal, I'd have to like chain a bunch of opals here. So maybe I'm supposed to wait a turn. I would go to 11. So if I play an opal, tap for mana, it'd be, I have 1 floating, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I have to play out the final opal so I don't lose to a daze. So it'd be all of my artifacts. I think I'm going to wait a turn. They still have 7 cards in their hand. Another Delver. That makes the waiting a turn worse. They play Polluted Delta, 5 cards. I'm not loving this. So I'm going to go to 11 here. Getting a little nervous about my life total. Defense Grid. So if I play the grid, I'd have 3 artifacts for Convoke. They probably have a Consign to Memory, though. I think playing out the grid is probably wrong here. And I say probably because I could be wrong, but I feel like the odds of them having a Consign to Memory in this hand falling apart are pretty high. And then we'll use the Manifold Keys to cast our Kappa Cannoneer. They Force of Will, exiling Force of Will. I will Force of Will back, exiling Kappa Cannoneer. Looks like they have a Pyroblast. And they do. Okay. Pass the turn. They have 2 cards remaining. If I'm going to win this, I need to draw like a 1 ring very quickly. Their Delver does not flip. They can fetch in their upkeep to not redraw that card, but they choose not to. So now they'll attack for 4. I go to 6. So I'm still dead if they flip the Delver next turn. Was it a Murktide Regent? Looks like it's a Murktide Regent. And it is. Okay, so the Delver no longer needs to transform. I have to draw a 1 ring here. Pinnacle Emissary. I mean, if this resolves, I can make a couple blockers, and that actually keeps me alive. We'll warp the Pinnacle Emissary. We'll play a Mox Opal. This will make a blocker. Looks like they're going to Consign to Memory the trigger. Or is this like an Abrade? It is an Abrade, wow. Okay. I guess I'm punished for not starting on Defense Grid, but I don't think I was supposed to. I think I was supposed to try to maximize the number of blockers in that spot, but what do I know? Pass the turn. So we could live 1 turn if they don't flip the Delver, and then that gives me 1 more turn to pray to draw the 1 ring. And they do flip the Delver of Secrets, so we are dead. Alright, so we lose. Kind of just got stomped this match. You know, that happens. Don't really know what else to say. We had pretty much the same situation both games. We kept a hand that was close, and then we didn't draw what we needed. Instead of drawing an artifact to enable Mox Opal this game, we drew additional copies of Mox Opal. In game 1, we needed a single mana, and we didn't get it. So that's Magic. It happens. Let's try to get match number 3. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $15.99. This token combo pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens featuring classic Storm and Mana tokens with new inclusions such as our modern Ruby Storm package, but that's not all. Our token pack covers a variety of formats from Pauper to CDH with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Round number 3 on the draw. This hand is very clunky. We cannot afford to keep this. Sending that one back. This one is fine. I think we keep it and get rid of a spare Seagate Restoration. I have no idea what the opponent's playing. Eldrazi Temple, so obviously Eldrazi. Playing Helm of Awakening against them might bite me in the butt. Mox Opal. What does that allow? I just want to think through this. So if I play Grim Monolith, tap it, Helm of Awakening floating 1, I can play another Helm of Awakening, and then I can play Mox Opal, but I'm 1 mana short of the One Ring. If I lead on Helm of Awakening, I cannot play the Grim Monolith. So I think no matter what, I'm going to be destroyed by a Thought-Knot Seer next turn. So I think we play Grim Monolith, play the Mox Opal. I don't think there's any way to get to the One Ring here. So once again, I tap the Grim Monolith, I play Helm of Awakening. That turns on the Mox Opal, but the Grim Monolith only has 1 floating. I could then play another Helm of Awakening with only the Mox Opal available. So it just doesn't do it. I'm going to pass the turn. They play another Eldrazi Temple. They attack. I'll take 2. They did not have Thought-Knot Seer. I got away with 1. Another City of Traders. We'll play the One Ring. I don't want to play out Helm of Awakening unless I'm going to need it. Eldrazi is a deck that takes advantage of this quite well. Okay, so this might be a reason to play it now. So I can play the City of Traders, and then I can play a Helm of Awakening, and then untap the One Ring. Then I will play the Manifold Key, untap the One Ring. Now we'll draw 2, drew another key, and I will untap the One Ring, draw 3, Mox Opal, play another Manifold Key. The problem is you only have Mox Opals that go up on mana. So, okay, our opponent just conceded. But it would have been a little easier if I had wiggle room to play another Helm that turn, because then Grim Monolith could have gotten us ahead. But it didn't work out that way. But that's still a turn 2 concession for us. I take those. Do we want to change anything versus Eldrazi? I do believe that they play Null Rod, so I think I might want Force of Negation. I don't think that this is a good Pinnacle Emissary matchup. So I think maybe we just bring in like 1 Dismember. Let's try this. So we have Force of Will, exiling Paradoxical Outcome. We have the One Ring. I'm just lacking mana. I think we're going to try it. And we're going to pray to Kronos that I draw Grim Monolith. And if you're unfamiliar, Kronos is the god of storms. Chalice of the Void on 1. My hand needs 1 mana value spells, so we will counter this. Okay. Another Mox Opal. Well, you know, that's not the best draw, but I could use it to get to the One Ring. So, beggars can't be choosers. I'm going to remain optimistic that that was an okay draw. They play Cavern of Souls. Hopefully it's just some Eldrazi I don't care about this turn. Like Eldrazi Linebreaker. I mean, I don't like dying, but things could have been worse. Let's see it. Grim Monolith. Okay, so that's a card I can play next. Ooh, I could play it this turn. So we'll play the Grim Monolith. Or, I'm sorry, play the Key, and then another Mox Opal. And now I can play Grim Monolith. We'll tap it for mana. Untap the Grim Monolith. Tap again. Play the One Ring. That resolved. And now we draw. And now we'll untap the One Ring. Draw again. Play my land tapped. I don't want to lose 3 life in this spot, and we'll pass the turn. Okay. That was a good turn for us. They play an Eldrazi Temple. Disruptor Flute. No! Oh, that's devastating here. I wasn't even thinking about Disruptor Flute when I played out my land. Well, I guess they had enough mana to recast it, so maybe it just doesn't matter. Oh, jeez. We'll untap Grim Monolith, player 2 keys, and then pass the turn. So I have to hope that I'm not dead, and I have to hope that we draw a card that gets us out of this mess. Actually, Paradoxical Outcome would be quite the draw, assuming that I live. Kozilek's Command for 4. I mean, that almost kills me. So currently, they could give a creature +5, so I'm 2 damage short. Or I'm dead to my own ring. I guess I'll make them... If they're going to sacrifice Eldrazi... Okay, it's another Linebreaker. That does kill me. Alright, we can go to the next one. That hand was very good, too. We'll try it again. Alright, on the play. This hand doesn't actually do anything. I mean, you have Force of Negation, you have a Grim Monolith. I think you're supposed to send that back. Is this really a keep? It's so slow, and your payoff is a divination, literally divination. I'm going to mulligan. Keep bottom Aetherflux Reservoir, and am I supposed to just not keep the Force of... Like, I think on 5 cards, maybe you just can't afford to keep it. So we'll try this out. We'll play Ancient Tomb, play the Grim Monolith. Pass the turn. I think if that was a 6-card hand, I obviously would have kept the Force of Negation, but I think on 5 cards, you kind of just can't afford to play that defensively. Manifold Key was a good draw. We'll play the key. Untap. Tap it again. Play the Relic of Sauron. We'll make 2 blue. Paradoxical Outcome for 3. And I did draw a Force of Negation. I think I'm supposed to pass here because I didn't draw another blue card. Another Eldrazi Temple. I cannot counter the Thought-Knot Seer, so that will resolve. Force of Negation is non-creature. The pick here is probably Grim Monolith, but let's see what they do. They take the Relic of Sauron. Interesting. Okay. City of Traders. Play the Grim Monolith. And then we'll play the keys. I'm not going to play out Helm of Awakening. It just doesn't make sense here. We'll pass the turn. We're in a 1-ring waiting room, so maybe they were right to take the Relic of Sauron in hindsight because my hand doesn't do anything. But if we do draw a copy of the 1 ring, this hand is going to go off. 3 mana here for a Wastegate Battle Mage. That might be why they did it. Yeah, we lose our Grim Monolith. That hurt. I'm at 12, and that's a 1 ring. We go to 10, we'll play the 1 ring, draw a card, pass the turn. We're not out of the woods yet. They play an Ancient Tomb, 5 cards in their hand. Glaring Fleshraker, that resolves. Another Glaring Fleshraker. Okay. They have 3 cards. Okay, let's see what we can do. I'm going to lose 1 life down to 9. We'll draw 2. Paradox Engine. Think we're cooking. Okay. Tap for 2. We'll play City of Traders. We'll play Paradox Engine. Untap the 1 ring. Maybe this was wrong. Maybe I was supposed to untap first, because now I'm punished. Oh no. Okay, it's a K command. I can't counter it, but I think I was supposed to draw first, because then I could have responded. Yeah. I messed this up. Am I dead? Did you find it? You found another Kozilek's command? That kills me. Wow, they ripped another Kozilek's command. Ah, jeez. That's a bummer. So I think instead of playing the engine, I was supposed to draw first. Then if they try to respond, I can untap the ring and draw again. Yeah, I'm disappointed. I feel like this one might be on me. Bummer. Okay, we're now 1 and 2. The Gold Sabertooth times the Epic Storm collection has arrived with 3 full-size tokens showcasing the beloved Dark Ritual, CDH Rogsai, and Legacy of the Epic Storm for just $5. On the backs of these tokens, there's a place for my signature or a custom message. In addition to these sweet tokens, a friendly reminder that all orders that ship from theepicstorm.com also come with a signed Storm token from yours truly. Alright, match number 4. So while we begin this, I was thinking about the previous match in between games, and I could have sequenced better, I'm aware of that, but I realized when we were queuing up for the 4th match that even if I had done things in the proper order, I was still dead. Assuming that our opponent didn't draw the second copy of Kozilek's command off of the first, because they did have 3 cards in their hand, so hypothetically they could have had both. But Force of Will, if I had dug for it off of the 1 ring, would have countered the first. The Glaring Fleshraker triggers are cast triggers off of the Glaring Fleshraker, so even if I Force of Willed the Kozilek's command, they still make 2 Eldrazi Scions, I still take 4 damage, and I lose life. So even if I had Force of Will, it wouldn't have stopped me from dying there. So I feel a little bit less bad about poor sequencing, but I still think I should have sequenced the proper way. Alright, so here we have maybe a turn 2 the 1 ring with Force of Will back up. We'll try it. I don't know if this hand is that great, but we'll give it a go. In general, so far, I think my feedback on this deck is that it's a little mana hungry, so it might need a few more mana sources in there. I don't know if they're artifacts for Mox Opal or if they're lands. I don't have that answer. But I do think that the deck might want a couple more mana sources. They grab a Volcanic Island and Ponder. The previous build that Velgrim submitted had Lotus Petals in them. I don't know if this is a great Lotus Petal deck, but it is an artifact for Mox Opal. It's really good with your Pinnacle Emissaries. It helps with Kappa Cannoneer. It untaps with Paradox Engine. It could be that. Alright, so I think we just play the Sink in a Stupor again, and we'll pass. Looted Delta. Another Sink in a Stupor. Play the Ancient Tomb. So I don't know what they're playing. If I'm trying to play around Daze, I could wait a turn. But I have 2 copies of the One Ring, so I think I'm going to try to just shove here. They brainstorm in response. The One Ring back on the stack, and it just resolves. Interesting. I wasn't expecting that. Draw a card. Another Mox Opal. We'll pass the turn. So the one thing about this being a Mox Opal deck, and I mean it does make sense, you play a lot of artifacts, but they're all expensive. That is the one thing that I've noticed. So that could be a little awkward. Same thing with like the Pinnacle Emissaries is like you have 4 Mox Opals that cost 0 and that's it. So I think you might want more 0 mana artifacts, and like the Lotus Petals helped stock up. Sure. So likely another Show and Tell deck. They discarded another copy of Stock Up. Alright, we're at 17. I'll draw 2 cards off of the One Ring. Let's play our Helm of Awakening. It's time to party. Come on, it's just a little helm. What could go wrong? We'll play Voltaic Key, Mox Opal. Let's untap the One Ring. Draw 3. Play another key. Play the Mox Opal. We'll play Grim Monolith. Tap for colorless. Tap for blue. We'll untap the Grim Monolith. Make more colorless. And Paradoxical Outcome. I'm going to leave the One Ring on the battlefield. I think it's just, I'd rather draw more cards. We'll play another Helm of Awakening. Now Grim Monolith is free. This is the kind of magic I like right here. Boom. This is Combo Town. Alright. So I don't want to win with the Pinnacle Emissary. Not because I don't think it's fun or whatever, but because we're facing another combo deck, and I think it's important that we win this turn. So we'll draw 4 cards. Untap the One Ring again. Draw 5 cards. Make a blue. Untap the One Ring. We'll draw 6 cards. 25 cards left in deck. We'll play another key. Scroll to this side of my hand. We'll play another Helm of Awakening. We'll play another key here. Paradoxical Outcome now costs 1 mana. We'll untap the One Ring. Draw 7. We'll play a Basalt Monolith for free. We'll now play a Relcosaur. I mean, this is awesome. This is what I came here for. I could see why Velgrim likes this. We'll untap the One Ring. Who needs Paradox Engine, really, when you have Helm of Awakening? Alright. Let's make some mana here, I suppose. 10 cards left in my deck. There's our Aetherflux Reservoir. Let's play the Helm first, because now our Reservoir is free. I've played 20 spells this turn, so this Grim Monolith will gain 21. And now we'll play a Mox Opal. Why are you conceding? I was having fun. Oh, that was awesome. That made the league for me. That game right there. Wow. Incredible. We'll board out the Pinnacle Emissaries versus Show and Tell combo. Bring in the Force of Negations. I think we brought in Defense Grid round 1. I think we did Velgrim's plan of shaving 1 of each. We'll try this. I am not as sold on boarding down on Mox Opals. Maybe you don't have to because I boarded out all the emissaries. Okay. Yeah, we'll try this. It's just the deck has so few blue sources. Also, I'm not even sure what you would cut for Lotus Petals. That's the other issue. Is I don't know what you're actually supposed to get rid of. We have to send this one back. This seems okay. Need some counter magic. Get rid of a key. They play Polluted Delta and Ponder. Helm. I mean, that might mean that I'm just dead on turn 2 if they have Show and Tell. I think we'll play Seagate Restoration instead. Pass the turn. They have Scalding Tarn, Grim Monolith. Let's try Grim Monolith. Do you have a consigned to memory? Looks like they do. Disruptor Flute. Okay. They named the One Ring. That's just not nice, but I understand. We'll play our Manifold Key, and then untap the Grim Monolith. Tap it again. We'll play Relic of Sauron, and pass the turn. They have an Ancient Tomb. That's a Show and Tell. I'll put in the One Ring. And Atraxa enters. Veil of Summer. Lotus Petal, Force of Will, Sneak Attack, Besage You Who Endures. That was a very good Atraxa for them. They took Force of Will, Besage You Who Endures, Sneak Attack, Lotus Petal, Ponder. I also don't have a basic land type in my deck for Besage You, but I don't know if you're supposed to. Although you could play 1 over a Seagate Restoration. I think that might be okay. Unfortunate. So that was my blue mana. Or to cast the Sink in a Stupor. I think we're just dead. Because we know that they have a Force of Will in their hand. Yeah, let's just go to game 3. Bummer. Try it again. On the play. Yeah, this is a turn to the One Ring with Force of Will backup. This is fine. We'll play Seagate Restoration. I'm going to pay the life here, and then we'll play Voltaic Key. They have Polluted Delta. Repurposing Bay is not a bad draw. We'll play Basalt Monolith. Tap for 3, untap it. We'll try the One Ring. So the question is, what are we exiling to the Force of Will here? Paradoxical Outcome or Repurposing Bay? I think Outcome with only 2 cards in play is worse. So I think I'd like to exile the Paradoxical Outcome, keeping the Repurposing Bay. The One Ring? Ooh, it resolved. Draw. Pass the turn. 2 mana here. We're going to destroy my key. That is not nice. Also, once again, being punished for not having 1 basic island in the deck. I do think that maybe you should cut 1 Seagate Restoration. But the Seagates are blue cards for the Force of Will, so you can't have it all, I guess. We draw another copy of the One Ring. We'll draw 2. Play Mox Opal. Play the Repurposing Bay. We'll play Ancient Tomb. This would put me down to 13. I could use the Repurposing Bay, sacrificing the Basalt Monolith, and go grab Relic of Sauron. And then the turn after that would give me enough mana, or the resources to go grab Paradox Engine. Or, alternatively, I could float mana here, and then sacrifice the Opal to go grab a key, and then try to dig for Force of Will plus blue card off of 3 draws. I also have Force of Negations. I think I like the key line, because having a key in play next turn means I could also just put Repurposing Bay into play next turn. So we'll grab the key, untap the One Ring, draw 3. Okay. Pass the turn. Ancient Tomb. 4 mana for a sneak attack. No Lotus Petal, no Simian Spirit Guide. I like that. Alright, so I'll lose 3 life. We'll go to 10. Draw 4. Okay, so I think it's time to party. I'll go to 8. We're going to sacrifice the One Ring. I'm going to go grab the Paradox Engine. Untap the Basalt Monolith. We'll play Helm of Awakening. Our opponent said GG, but I'm not necessarily there yet. Are you conceding? You are! Nice. Alright, so now we're 2-2. We've beaten 2 Show and Tell decks and lost to Izzet Tempo and Eldrazi. I think the deck has legs. I will say that, Valgrim. I've liked the Helm of Awakening so far. They felt like real improvements to the deck. And I'm not even just saying that because I love the card. Like, it has felt good. I just think that the deck can sometimes feel a little mana hungry. So it might want another mana source or 2 and maybe an island. Even the loss to Eldrazi, I felt like was partially my own fault. So, yeah. I mean, there's still 1 match left. Hopefully we get that. But I think the deck is headed in a better direction. Let's try to win match number 5. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. The 5th and final round on the draw versus I Need a Soda. Me too. I am tired. Alright, so let's go. I have Force of Will plus blue card. We just need a blue mana source for the Paradoxical Outcome or another artifact. They named Goblin. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The Goblin Lackey has arrived. Ooh. That gives me a turn 1 Paradoxical Outcome. Okay, so let's do this. Play the Opal. And I can now outcome floating 1. It's not enough to replay all my artifacts, though. It is enough to replay Key and 1 Mox Opal. So now we'll pass the turn. If you were someone saying you should be playing out the Pinnacle Emissary, it makes 1/1 flying creatures that can only block creatures with flying, so it could not block the Goblin Lackey. They put in a Snoop, D-O-double-G, and a Goblin Lackey Birthing Ritual. Wasteland, I don't love that. In fact, that's actually very good for them. Brutal. That's tough. And now I don't have enough mana to play anything. We'll play our land. Brutal. I have to just pass the turn here. So I could have warped the Pinnacle Emissary and that would have given me Metalcraft, but the problem is that it's still... I guess I could have... Alright, so I could have warped, and then I could have chained Mox Opals into Grim Monolith, but then I don't have any blue mana to do anything. And I don't think that's a winning game plan. Goblin Matron. Now they're going to play the Birthing Ritual. I'll Force of Will this. Exile the Pinnacle Emissary. It just doesn't block any of their things. I'm going to need a very good draw. I'm at 12. Nothing in a playoff Goblin Lackey? Really? They play Munitions Expert. Okay. They have 1 card remaining. But they're drawing Goblin Matron, which probably kills me. Alright, so we need to find a way to win here. And that doesn't do it. That's annoying. Yeah, I guess I lost this game on turn 1 with the Paradoxical Outcome. I could have waited a turn, I guess. And guaranteed I would have been able to replay the Grim Monoliths. But it just felt like I was supposed to capitalize, and the odds that you drew more mana was pretty high, I felt like. Alright, so we'll bring in Dismember and maybe get rid of Pinnacle Emissary. In general, I know that Velgrim really likes Pinnacle Emissary because it helps you beat Karn the Great Creator. It sort of felt useless to me. I'm not trying to just sound negative here. I think if I was working on this deck right now, I'd probably cut the Pinnacle Emissaries, and I'd try playing Lotus Petals in that slot. And if you want the sideboard Pinnacle Emissaries, you can play them in the board. But I think the deck needs more mana, and I like the idea of Lotus Petal to support Mox Opal, but also accelerate you into more turn 2 copies of the One Ring, or turn 1 Repurposing Bays if that's something you're interested in. I'm just not a believer in the Pinnacle Emissary, I suppose. So this is turn 1 Helm of Awakening. And then if you rip the land, you have the One Ring plus Forcible backup. But if they wasteland you, you probably lose the game and the match. You have a Dismember for Goblin Lackey. I'm going to keep. This could just be me getting smushed. Helm of Awakening. It does mean that the Dismember is literally free, though, which is kind of funny. Taiga. Okay. Please give me the land. I'll take that. Grim Monolith. The One Ring. Alright, protection from everything. We'll draw a card. Can't play that, so we'll pass the turn. Tavern of Souls. Meaning Goblin. And a Goblin Lackey. Sure. So we'll lose a life down to 15. Draw 2 off of the One Ring. A lot of Dismembers. A lot of Dismembers. Think we're going to play the Seagate Restoration. Ouch. I can then play the Relic of Sauron. This allows me to actually pay mana for Dismember, which is nice. Alright, in their beginning of combat, I will add 2 black mana. I will cast Dismember. Paying black mana. 0 life Dismember. Pretty good. I'm at 10 though. So, between Ancient Tomb and the One Ring, I do need to do something soon. Alright, so I'm going to lose 2. I go to 8. Repurposing Bay. Let's start by drawing 3. That could have been better. So I could play and activate Repurposing Bay to go grab Paradox Engine and then Dismember, but I'm going to be low on life. We'll play Repurposing Bay. We have Pyroblast. I will Force of Will. Exile Sink in a Stupor. Tap for mana. We'll use the Repurposing Bay. Sacrifice the Relic of Sauron. Grab Paradox Engine. Dismember the Goblin Lackey. I'll go to 1. This is scary. Alright, so I'll draw 4. Make 3 colorless. Think we'll play another Repurposing Bay. This will untap everything. Tap. Sacrifice the other Repurposing Bay, and now we can go grab the Aetherflux Reservoir. Draw 5. We'll play a Helm of Awakening. And our opponent concedes. Alright, we got that one. Game 3 on the draw. Yeah, I think if this deck had Lotus Petal in it, it'd be very smooth. Like, Helm of Awakening seems to be the missing piece that this deck has wanted the whole time. It's just, maybe I'm trying to play too much like a combo deck and I should try to be playing it more fair. But it feels like it's not a very good Pinnacle Emissary deck because it only plays 4 zeros. This is a turn 1 the One Ring. We keep these. Our opponent with a mulligan to 5. They have a Bloodstained Mire for Taiga. Ignoble Hierarch. It is in fact a Goblin. We'll play the City of Traders, Grim Monolith, play a key. My question here is, am I supposed to play out the other Monolith? I think so, but I could be wrong. A pause here, I don't like that. That means that they could have Mindbreak Trap. I mean, I could just pass and then not play in a Mindbreak Trap. Do we think they actually have it? I'm going to pass. So I think like they could have it, but I'm trying to think what's the downside of waiting. I miss out on 1 turn worth of triggers, like... I see 1 extra card if I pass. They have the Snoop, Disruptor Flute, annoying, Helm of Awakening. What to do? We'll play the Helm, and then I'll untap a Grim Monolith. We'll play the One Ring, Protection from Everything, draw a card. Play the Seagate Restoration as a land. Play Relic of Sauron. Tap for 2. Blue, black. Play Repurposing Bay. And we'll pass. And I still have Dismember open if they try to kill me with the Snoop. They draw the Disruptor Flute, so they can name the One Ring. But I think we might be able to win next turn without the One Ring. Because I could sacrifice the One Ring to go grab Paradox Engine and then use Relic of Sauron in order to win. We're going to Surveil with the Commercial District, trying to hit their combo here. Wasteland is not the combo piece. There's a creature here that would kill me. It's like Boggart Harbinger, I believe it's called. It puts a goblin on top of their deck, and then that would kill me with the Snoop. They play the Disruptor Flute, likely naming the One Ring, and they do. Goblin Matron. So this gives them another opportunity here. Ooh, I wonder if they punted. Because they fetch for a Commercial District. They could have gone... Ooh, and I guess the name of the card, right? Boggart Harbinger. Because they could have gone fetch land for an untap land, Matron, Harbinger, kill you, and then lost to my Dismember, but they didn't know that. Alright, so we're going to lose a couple life to the One Ring. We'll play City of Traders. Ooh, actually, does this work? I need to think through this. I'm just going to do it. I can't seem to figure out it. I think it might work. We'll grab Paradox Engine. And now I need to cast a spell. We'll tap for mana here. Actually, cancel. Yeah, I can't get up. No, I can. So I can untap Grim Monolith. And now I can activate the Relic. Draw 2, discard. We'll discard the Ancient Tomb. And now I can play the Dismember for free. This will untap all my stuff. Okay. And now I could Paradox Engine. Or I can use the Repurposing Bay. I think I'm going to use Relic before I make a decision. Discard the Helm. Alright, we've won now. Untap the Relic. Let's make some blue. I'm not sure if I even want to use the Repurposing Bay. So I'll play the Mox Opal. Make more blue. We'll use the Relic of Sauron. This is pretty cool here, using this instead of the One Ring. Get rid of the Repurposing Bay. I'm going to use the Repurposing Bay. We'll get rid of the Helm of Awakening. We'll grab I guess I can just grab another Repurposing Bay. And then we'll use that. Sacrifice the original Repurposing Bay and go grab Aetherflux Reservoir. And now I can make mana by untapping a Grim Monolith. We'll tap it for mana. We'll play a Manifold Key. This will untap everything. And then Paradoxical Outcome will kill them. Wow, who needs the One Ring anyway? Love the Dismembers, though. Those felt very good this match. And now we'll draw... Whoops, undo. Alright, now we'll draw. Discard City of Traders. Untap the Relic. Draw again. Discard the One Ring. Play a key. Alright, so I've won this game at this point. I'm not going to draw more cards off of the Relic. It's just kind of a waste of time. Play another key. And the opponent has conceded the match. No Paradoxical Outcome even needed here. Alright, so we went 3-2. Maybe should have been a 4-1 with the match against Eldrazi. It's tough to know without me doing everything perfectly, and I did not do that game 3. So I will take responsibility for losing game 3, even though I might have been dead anyway. The Izzet Delver matchup, we just got steamrolled. Where I would move forward, I would want a basic land in my deck. I'd probably cut 1 Seagate Restoration for a basic island. I would cut the Pinnacle Emissaries for Lotus Petals. If you want to put them in the board, I think that's fine. But I'm not even sure if I would. I liked the sideboard. I think I would just play Lotus Petal over Pinnacle Emissary personally. Otherwise, the deck was great. I really liked it. Also, Lotus Petal might help with some of the mana issues against Izzet Delver versus the Wasteland deck. So that might shore up that matchup as well. But I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. Thank you, Velgrim, for submitting this donation deck. I understand why you like the deck and Repurposing Bay. It was really, really awesome. Thank you to everyone for watching. I do appreciate your support. Getting a little bit of the rust off of recording as well because I didn't record for a week. So it's enjoyable to play a fun deck when you're getting back into it, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. Thank you again. I hope you all have a wonderful day. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, suggestions, whatever for Valgrim, put those in the comment section down below. I hope you have a wonderful day. And as always, keep storming. Hey you, yeah you, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're interested, you can visit theepicstournament.com/donation decks to see your combo deck here on this very YouTube channel. You can even join me in a video in the Epic tier. It's totally worth it, I promise. And see ya. Thanks for watching.